Have you ever felt that tingle on the back of your neck, like someone is watching you? I didn't believe in things like that. I mean, who does? Ghosts, monsters, just stories to scare kids, right? But now I know better. Now, I'm not sure I'll ever sleep again. It started one quiet evening. I was alone at home, scrolling through my phone. The house was dark, except for the soft glow of my screen. It was so silent, I could hear the hum of the refrigerator. Nothing seemed out of place, but I had this strange feeling. Have you ever had the sense that something is off, even if you can't explain it? That was how I felt. I shrugged it off. Probably just my imagination, I thought. Then it happened. Out of the corner of my eye, I thought I saw something move. A shadow, maybe? I turned my head quickly, but there was nothing there. Just the empty living room. I laughed at myself. "You're being ridiculous," I said out loud. But the laugh felt hollow, forced. A few minutes later, I noticed it again. A flicker, like someone darting just out of view. This time, I stood up and looked around. "Hello," I called out. My voice sounded small in the vast silence. No answer. Of course not. Why would there be? But my heart was racing now. I sat back down, trying to convince myself I was imagining things. Maybe I was just tired. That's when I noticed something on my phone screen. My reflection. It wasn't just me. There was something else behind me. A shape, barely visible, standing in the shadows. I spun around so fast I nearly dropped my phone. Nothing. Just the dark corners of the room. I tried to laugh it off again, but the sound caught in my throat. I didn't feel alone anymore. I felt watched. The air in the room felt heavy, like it was pressing down on me. I decided to turn on more lights. Brightness always makes things less scary, right? But as I walked to the light switch, I had this horrible feeling. The feeling that if I turned around, I'd see it. Whatever it was, I reached the switch and flipped it. The room flooded with light. Relief washed over me. "See," I told myself, "nothing is there." But that's when I saw it. Not in the room, but in the reflection of the window. A figure, tall, dark, and featureless, standing at the edge of the light, just staring at me. I turned around, but there was nothing there. When I looked back at the window, the figure was gone. Do you know that feeling when your stomach drops, like you're falling but you're standing still? That's how I felt. I grabbed my phone and called my best friend. "Hey," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Can you come over? I think I'm seeing things." "Seeing things? Like what?" she asked. "I don't know. Shadows, shapes." I trailed off, feeling foolish. "I'll be there in 10, she said, and I hung up. While I waited, I tried to keep myself busy. I turned on the TV, but the sound felt too loud, like it was inviting something to come closer. So, I turned it off and just sat there, gripping my phone like it was a lifeline. And then it happened again. The flicker. The movement. This time, it wasn't out of the corner of my eye. It was right in front of me. I blinked, and it was closer. It wasn't a shadow anymore. It was a figure, blacker than the darkness around it, with no face, no features, just there. It didn't move like a person. It didn't walk or run. It just appeared, closer every time I blinked. My throat was dry, and my chest felt tight. "What do you want?" I whispered, though I doubted it could hear me, or care. I try not to blink, but you can only stare for so long before your eyes betray you. When I blinked again, it was closer. I could feel it now, a coldness that seemed to seep into my skin. Have you ever been so scared you couldn't move? Like your body refuses to listen to you? That's how I felt. Frozen. Helpless. The doorbell rang, snapping me out of it. I jumped up and ran to the door, throwing it open. My friend stood there looking concerned. "What's wrong?" she asked. I pulled her inside, slamming the door behind her. "There's something here," I said, my voice shaking. She looked around. "What do you mean? I don't see anything." It's here, I insisted. Every time I blink, it gets closer. She frowned but didn't laugh. Okay, she said. Let's figure this out. We turned on every light in the house, searching every room, every corner. Nothing. But I knew it was there. I could feel it, the coldness, the heaviness in the air. My friend stayed with me, trying to reassure me, but I could tell she was starting to think I was losing it. Then she saw it. I knew the moment she did because her face went pale and her eyes widened. What is that? She whispered. You see it? I asked, my voice barely audible. She nodded, staring at the empty hallway. It's just standing there. Don't blink, I said. But she did, and when she did, it was closer. She gasped, stumbling back. What do we do? She cried. I don't know, I yelled. Panic was setting in now, thick and suffocating. We tried everything, turning on more lights, hiding in the bathroom, even going outside. But no matter where we went, it followed. Always there, always closer when we blinked. Maybe if we don't look at it, it can't move, she suggested. It sounded ridiculous, but we were desperate. We sat in the brightly lit living room, back to back, trying not to look at it. But how long can you avoid blinking? How long can you resist the urge to look at the thing that's hunting you? Eventually, I blinked, and when I did, I felt its cold breath on the back of my neck. Run! I screamed, grabbing my friend's hand. We bolted out the door, into the night. The streetlights felt like safety, but deep down I knew they wouldn't protect us. Nothing would. The thing wasn't bound by walls or distance. It was always there, always waiting. We ended up at a diner, bright and crowded. For the first time, I felt a sliver of hope. Maybe it wouldn't follow us here. But then I saw it, standing outside the window, blending into the shadows. Watching. It's here, I whispered. My friend followed my gaze and froze. What do we do? I didn't have an answer. Do you? What would you do if you were me? If you knew that every time you blinked, it would get closer? If you knew that no matter where you went, it would follow? I don't know how this ends. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe this thing, this shadow, will keep following me until I can't run anymore. Until I blink one last time. Or maybe I'll find a way to stop it. If you have any ideas, let me know. Please. And if you're reading this at night, in a quiet room, take a moment. Look around. Do you see something in the corner of your eye? A flicker of movement? A shadow that shouldn't be there? Be careful. Don't blink. And before you go, make sure to subscribe to this channel. You don't want to miss what happens next. Who knows? The next story might be yours.